Hi and welcome. I'm Sarah Barrett-Neal,
Hi.
Gallery Manager with the Glen Arbor Art Center. Today, though, I'm wearing another hat, that of Chairperson of the Art Center's Manitou Music Poster project. And in that capacity, I'm in conversation with Traverse City painter Barbara Reich, who's painting a pastel painting called Sleeping Bear Dune Overlook number 10, has been selected for the Art Center's 2025 poster. Hi, Barb.
Good morning.
Good
Good to
morning.
be with you this morning.
I am going to start by getting the painting. There we go. This is the painting, Sleeping Bear Dune Overlook number 10, that you created, and that is going to be our
Yes.
poster this year. So talk about this painting. What are we looking at?
Well, the idea for this came from a painting that I did plein air. I had gone with friends over to the Pierce Stocking Scenic Drive, and we drove around towards the back. And you walk up the back hill of number 10, actually 9 and 10. And so as you're coming up the dune, you get to a level area, and the first thing you see is this marvelous grouping of trees. Now, I was standing just forward of where the dune and bluff drops about 450 feet down to Lake Michigan. So that was on one side of me, and then looking forward is where the platform comes out, and you can, it's a huge sweeping expanse of Lake Michigan. But every time you get to the top of this dune, these trees are waiting for you. And so that was my inspiration that day. And then when I was preparing a painting to submit for the poster contest, I just kept thinking of this area. And I just kept thinking of these resilient trees that could withstand all sorts of wind and weather and shifting sand. And I just knew it was the one I wanted to paint.
You really have to be a hardy being to thrive on that dune.
Yes. And every year they change. Every year they shift, some break, some grow. And so it looks different every year when you go up there, but it is the first thing that you see before your eyes carry on into these other areas. Always intrigued me.
One of the things I often wonder about is when one is a painter, are you always looking at the world with a painter's eye and brain?
I think so. I mean, you see how things relate to each other, how they interrelate, what the colors are, where the sun is shining, or oh, look at that beautiful shadow, and that's the way I see my world now.
You're painting in plein air, but is this painting the result of a plein air session and then it goes back in the studio for some tweaking or other?
Well, in this case, I knew that I was painting a new painting, and I knew that I wanted to use my original painting as inspiration along with photos that I had taken so that I could reimagine what it was being there, and just trying to concentrate on the feeling and the movement and expressing how I felt that day. It's kind of like when you reimagine it, it's like, what is important to you? What is important to the artist? What do you want people to see or feel? And I hope I captured it with the sweeping dunes and these upstanding trees that are withstanding so much from Mother Nature.
So in line with that thought, I've often wondered what are the challenges of trying to paint on top of a sand dune, the challenge of getting there and the challenge of working there.
Well, getting there, especially this location, it's not flat to the parking lot. So you have to go up the backside of the dune. And so when you're hauling supplies, and pastels are pretty heavy, you have a roll cart, and you kind of roll and drag till you get to this level area. Once you get there, there's a lot of people around you typically, depending on what time of day you're there. It's windy. If it's a sunny day, usually I like to paint with an umbrella because that allows you to see your color and value better. But you can't, and because you can't put anything into the stand that's going to hold, or if the wind is blowing, it'll topple you over. So sometimes you almost have to turn sideways or almost get your back to what you're painting so that the sun isn't on your canvas or paper. So it's challenging, but it's so inspiring that it's worth doing it. It's worth the effort.
And also, in keeping with that thought, what is it about the Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore that is especially attractive to a person who wants to paint in plein air?
The whole park is visual poetry. It's everything from, like I say, a sweeping vista to beautiful skies to just Lake Michigan, which is like the heartbeat of everything. It's the dunes, it's the shadows. You can paint things that are far away, paint things very up close. It's just stunning. It's just every stop along the way, there's a stunning view in every direction.
This painting in particular is a good example of how you move between the representational and the interpretational, if that's even a word. Talk about how you're thinking about moving between the two, because obviously this is not something that's done with photographic precision. You're making some choices and you're bringing things to it from your spirit and your heart.
Right. It's interesting I think when most artists, or myself in particular, when I began painting, it was very important that I could paint or draw something fairly realistically so that you could tell what it was, the viewer could tell what it was. And then after many years of that, it took me many, many more years to pull back from that, to pull it, to internalize it so that I could interpret what I'm feeling about what I'm seeing. Not just what's there, not just copying what's there. And it can be anything from color can change the mood, how you feel about something, losing edges so that I can maybe direct the viewer or attention to a certain area that is important to me or touched my heart, or shows the emotion of what I was feeling at the time. Or it could be anything, a tree bending and the wind is blowing on it. It's like I say, in the beginning, it was very important to learn to draw and paint, because I think you have to have that as a strong basis so that you can step from it, which actually allows you to bring more to it.
Right now, the poster is waiting for you, Barb, to come and sign. Our poster artist always signs 150 of them.
Yes.
And it will be available very soon at the Glen Arbor Arts Center. If anyone wants to look at all the posters that we've done over the last 2.5 decades, you can go to the glenarborart.org, that's our website, or stop by the Art Center and look at them in person. More information about adding this poster to your collection will also be available on the website. Barb, thanks for the conversation. Thanks for sharing your vision of this iconic scene. Another very special place in the Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore. And we'll look forward to having you be part of the fine family of Manitou Music Poster artists.
Oh, I'm so happy to have been invited and to have this be part of the poster series with so many artists whose work I've admired. And so I'm thrilled.
Well, they're in good company with you. And thanks to everyone for viewing. See you next time.
Thank you.
Okay.